Welcome to Golden Nuggets, where truth and wisdom gets married and brings forth enlightenment. I want to speak to you today about winning your internal battles. Today, we are going to explore the essential topic of finding your voice. The moment has come for some introspection and some decision making. It's time to elevate and evolve. I am Ezra, A.K.A. the voice of reason, over and out. Welcome to Golden Nuggets. And if this is your first time joining me, you are in for a great surprise. This is where we do bite-sized truths in moments of need. And today we are focusing on another key topic, finding your voice. And it's so important that we take time to look at this important topic, because in so many ways, in so many different areas, we are not speaking up. We are not declaring our truth. We are not speaking from our authentic self. And so we're going to get into this today and really explore what it means to find your voice. And so the first question that we have to all ask ourselves is, what are you fearing? What is getting in the way? What is keeping you in that box of complacency and procrastination? What is it that is stopping you from speaking from your authentic self, from doing those things that you desire and want to do? We have to ask ourselves that question. We have to look inside for the answers. And so the reason why that question is so important is because there are 4 ways that fear affects us. And fear is a universal experience. It's something that all of us, every single human being, experiences. The only difference is how we choose to react or respond as a result of it. And so there are 4 ways that if we allow it to consume us and get the better of us, that it does. And that first one is that fear doesn't allow people to be themselves. It stops you from being you, from doing the things you want to do, from speaking the way you want to speak, from acting the way you want to act. It limits you. It keeps you in your comfort zone, in your safety zone. So you don't step out, so you don't try, so you don't do, so you don't explore, so you don't expand, so you don't speak up for yourself. The second thing is that the fear of what could happen is making nothing happen in your life. And this is really important, because what happens is we can make up these stories in our mind to say, well, I didn't do that because this was going to happen, and it wasn't the right time, and I didn't have enough information, and I wasn't skilled enough to go for that job. And all of these different reasons, excuses, and justifications are really the fact that fear and the fear of what could happen is making nothing happen in your life. And so it's really important to be aware, because it's subtle. And it knows how to move and weave between our thought processes so that it goes unnoticed, and so that we continuously give ourselves these justifications that we think are valid. Number 3 is that fear is like having constipation, but only the problem is it's in your head. And anyone who's ever experienced constipation would understand what I mean by this. Where things are just stuck, where it's painful, where it's uncomfortable, where there's no progress, where you just want to get this out of you, but you can't seem to make it happen. And people can experience this in their head when there's so many fears. Because a head filled with fears has no space for dreams. And so when we are riddled with fear, false evidence appearing real, it stops positivity, it stops belief, it stops confidence, it stops assurance, it stops all of these things from happening. And so we stay stuck in the same old situation with the same old feelings, with a lack of progress. And number 4 is that fear-based thinking creates instability. Because whenever we are focused on the fear, we become unstable, we become unbalanced. We can't see the sky for the trees. We are being consumed by those negative feelings and emotions that trigger off our cortisol, that trigger off our fight or flight response. And as a result of all of these things, there is no assurance, there's no safety, there's no confidence, there's no progress. And so we stay in a sense of instability, wondering what's going on, what's happening with my life, why do I feel this way? And the truth of the matter is, fear is the cause of all of those problems, of all of those feelings, of all of that complacency and procrastination. And so you need to find your voice. You need to speak up. You need to declare. You need to act. And it can be scary. But speak up even if your voice shakes. But speak up. Start to declare what you want in your life, in your relationship, in your situation, in your circumstance. Because as long as you stay silent, it's as long as you'll stay stuck in places that you don't belong. So we have to examine our ways. We have to examine our ways. And we need to start speaking up. And the first person that you need to find, the first person that you need to speak to, and that you need to find your voice with is you. Because before you can do it towards anyone else, you have to be able to do it towards yourself. And where you have been settling for things, where you have just been trying to fit in, where you have been complacent, you need to speak up for yourself. You need to tell yourself enough is enough. You need to tell yourself, I'm not having this no more. You need to tell yourself, stop turning a blind eye to things. Stop covering your ears for things that you don't want to hear because you know you're in the wrong places. You're in the wrong relationship. You're in the wrong situations. You need to stop covering your mouth and being silent where you should be speaking up, and tell yourself, get up. Tell yourself, do better. Tell yourself it's time for change. It starts at home. It starts within you. So you need to speak up. Today, you need to tell yourself enough is enough. And you need to ask yourself, what are you avoiding? What situations, what circumstances, what courageous conversations are you avoiding? Where are you not speaking up? Where are you not telling yourself this is unacceptable? Where are you not telling yourself you can do better than this? Where are you not telling yourself it's time for change? As Michael Jackson once said, I'm looking at the man in the mirror and I'm telling him to change his ways. Well, for you, man, or you, woman, or you, boy, or you, girl, it's time to change your ways. What are you pretending you can't see in your state of denial, which means don't even know I am lying? What are you pretending about? Are you pretending that you like the relationship that you're in? Are you pretending that you like to be around these people that you are not even being your authentic self with? Are you pretending that you like your job, that you only stay in because you are too fearful to move on? You're too complacent to try and do something different, to learn a new skill. What is it that's going on for you? What are you tolerating with yourself that you should be speaking up against? Because the truth of the matter is, all behavior is belief driven. In whatever you are doing today and whatever I'm doing today, it's belief driven. There is a belief behind why you are accepting, why you are not speaking up, why you are tolerating certain things. What do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about your skill sets? What do you believe about your ability? What do you believe about your circumstance? Because anything that you are doing is a belief behind it. And if that belief is I can't do, I'm not able, I'm not strong enough, I need them, that is why you are being driven in that way. But if your belief is I am not taking this no more, I deserve better, I am greater than this, I can do this, I am able to make this change, then you'll be driven by that belief. So the truth of the matter is we can try and lie to ourselves, but the truth of the matter is in your actions. And what does your actions say that you believe today? Now, I want us to understand that the brain is designed to keep you safe. And this has its benefits. This helps us in some ways, but in some ways it can be detrimental. So let's look at how it helps us first of all. When you experience something, like for example, if you put your hand on a hot heater for too long, your brain will send these thoughts to you and you will feel the pain, and that will help you to recognize, I'm not going to do that next time, or I'm not going to put my hand on the iron when it's hot. Yeah. And it helps us to keep safe. So it keeps a memory of that. And whenever you go to or you see that same thing again, it's going to remind you, danger, do not put your hand on the hot iron, do not keep your hand on the heater because it was painful last time. And that's good. That helps us, it keeps us safe. It helps us to know when there is danger. But the problem with this also is that it can be counterproductive at times. Because whenever you procrastinate or you delay in doing something, a signal is sent to your brain saying, danger, this is not good for you, because it knows you are not operating in the way that you normally would. Now, the situation or the reason as to why you've done that could be something that's actually in your favor, but you are just fearful about going forwards. But the brain will store that as a danger. And so when you need to have a courageous conversation, it will bring that message back to you and say, danger, don't do it. It could go wrong. They won't like you. You know, it may end up bad. They may attack you. It'll tell you all these things in its goal and desire to keep you safe. And this is why often when we are faced with situations and circumstances where we're unsure, why the brain is working against you to make that not happen. And this can be detrimental. This is why we all experience anxiety, the fears, and all these other things, because your brain is going to magnify that situation to try and keep you away from it. And so it's important that we remember that if we fear things, when it's false evidence appearing real, it will keep us bound. But if we use fear, meaning we face everything and rise, then we can excel and do great things. And so It's important that you understand that the brain is so magnificent and it can modify itself based on experience, based on what you go through, based on what you're thinking, based on what you're feeling, based on how you're reacting. And so if you are thinking doubt continuously, doubt is what will grow. The same for fear, anxiety, and worry. But if you are thinking on positive things, on confidence, on growth, on expansion, on your skill set, on the things that you can do, then that is what will grow. But I want you to recognize and understand this. Every thought that you think is a rep, okay? It's a rep because the brain is a muscle. And however we train it will depend on how it grows. And so if you are daily, hourly, minutely bringing forth those reps, those thoughts of fear, anxiety, and worry, you are going to be defined and ripped in the muscles of fear, worry, and anxiety. And that's why it's so difficult for you to move past your situation and circumstance. That's why it's so difficult for you to find your voice, because you're going against the fear of Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime. You're going against the anxiety of a Mike Tyson in his prime. And so it's so important that we get the reps in and we do the training in the right areas. And that means you have to focus, think upon, and meditate on the things that you are, that you can do, and that you desire. It's so important in you finding your voice, in you speaking up, in you living your best life, in you doing those things that you want to achieve. And so this is such a powerful quote that I want you to take a moment to think on. It says, I will not stay silent so you can stay comfortable. This is something that you have to tell yourself in every situation. I will not stay silent so you can stay comfortable, old me. I will not stay silent so you can stay comfortable, whoever that individual is. I will not stay silent so you can stay comfortable, Mr. Fair. I will not stay silent so you can stay comfortable, Mr. Complacency. I will not stay silent so you can stay comfortable, unknown. And the more that you begin to speak is the more that you will gain back your power. And so I encourage you today, in whatever that situation is, in whatever that circumstance is, begin to speak, begin to declare, begin to take back the authority. Because the truth of the matter is, there are only two choices with this. In whatever your situation is, in whatever it is you're facing, in your very life and existence upon this earth, there is only two choices. There is only two options for you. And that is that you can either be the master of your destiny or be a servant to your fears. That's your two options. There is no gray lines. There is no in between. And you need to make a decision today on which one that's going to be for you. Are you going to be the master of your destiny? Are you going to stare fear in the face and tell it, hell no? Are you going to be the one that's going to push past so that you can achieve the very things that you desire in your life? Or are you going to be that person who remains a servant to your fears? Never achieving your goals, never pushing past your comfort zones, always feeling unsatisfied. The choice is yours. Now, if you choose today to find your voice, to begin to move, to begin to act, to begin to declare, to begin to fight for your blessings, then your life will change dynamically. you'll begin to realize how much you can do as you push past the fears and find your greatness. I encourage you today, I implore you today, do not be a servant to your fears anymore. Do not allow them to beat you and whip you into subjection. Do not allow them to keep you from what you were destined to do when you was created and brought forth to manifest while you are on the earth. Do not stay silent, so the things that are holding you captive can stay comfortable, whether that be people, whether that be mindsets, whether that be situations. And this quote here is so apt, so relevant for this topic. And it tells us something and gives us an instruction to know how we can actually deal with and address our situation. And it says, inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. So what that is saying is inaction, when we stop, when we delay, when we procrastinate, when we stay still, that just breeds doubt and fear. Why? Because you're just thinking on it, but not doing. You're staying stagnant. And when you do that, and the more that you do that, you are encouraging those thoughts, those worries, those anxieties to come in. Yeah, don't do it because you know it's going to be really bad. You know it's not going to work out. Remember what happened last time? All of those things can only take place where there's inaction. But if you want to conquer fear, do not sit home and think about it. Do not stay still. Do not just contemplate on these things. Go out and get busy. And I'm not saying that we should just do things without thinking about it. But when we are ruminating on all the things that could go wrong and just, meditating on all the problems that could occur, why would you move forward? And so I want to encourage you today to take action. Take action. It's as simple as ABC, because action builds confidence. When you take action and do, you then are able to recognize and realize what really would happen. And so it's so important that you just go forwards. Even if you're fearful, just go forwards. Because I guarantee you, when you do, when you try, you will recognize that it wasn't as bad as you thought. And even if it isn't completely successful, you would already have learned from that experience to know what you can do differently next time. And you are making progress. And that brings confidence. And that makes you a bit more courageous to know that you can do something. And so I encourage you today, take that action. Whatever it is that you know you need to do it today. Don't say tomorrow, next week, do it today, because action breeds confidence and courage. So I have a news flash for you. I want you to understand this. This is very important. I really hope that you get this. So take note and take notice. It is tough to control the mind with the mind. You see, when you are trying to address your thoughts, your feelings, your fears, your worries, your anxieties with your mind, it's very difficult to do. Very few people are able to do that. Why would I say that? The mind is a phenomenal thing, but it has one limitation. It can only think on one thing at a time. It can only think on one thing at a time. Now, if you are already down the worry chain, if you're already consumed with anxiety, if you're already perplexed by your situation, you're already thinking in a certain trail, in a certain mindset, in a certain pathway. And the truth of the matter is, because of neuroplasticity, if you have regularly been thinking around that, that pathway is strong. So how can you then think you can change your mind, just come off that strong pathway to go down this new road? It's very difficult to do. There's very few people that can do that. And this is why action is so vital and significant. So let me give you an example so you can understand what I'm saying. I'm sure all of us have experienced this. If you've ever gone swimming, okay, your mind knows that the water is going to be cold. Okay, in most swimming pools, the water is going to be cold. And so you have this dilemma because you want to get in there, but it's cold. So your mind's telling you, oh, it's cold. Do you really want to do this? And you're having all these thoughts and you dip your toe in. It's like, oh, it's really cold. It's confirmed that. And so you're going through this dilemma. And eventually you have to just make a decision. And the decision is, I'm just going to jump in. It's action. And as you take that action, you jump in. And it's confirmed what your mind was thinking. It is cold in the beginning. But as you just jump in and just get used to it and then start swimming, it's all fine. And this is what happens throughout life. Life is a swimming pool experience. And if we just stand on the sidelines thinking, oh my God, it's really cold. Oh my God, this situation is really hard. Oh my God, what would they think if I do this? If I speak publicly, will I get it all right? All of these things, it's really your swimming pool experience. And it's only when you just jump in that you are able to make progress. I'm encouraging you to jump in today, to jump into that swimming pool of the courageous conversation, to jump in that swimming pool of changing jobs, to jump in that swimming pool of addressing things in your relationship, to jump in the swimming pool of addressing the issues with you. The way that you modify the brain is by using discomfort as the propeller to move you into action. You see, some people are being pulled by their vision and their purpose and their passion. So they don't need to use this process. They're going for it. They're not procrastinating. They're not waiting. They're not even letting fear even get a chance to speak to them. They're gone. But for those who are not being pulled by their vision, their purpose, and their passion, they need to be pushed by discomfort. And so you have to use it as a propeller, as a tool to move you forwards. I don't like being this way. I don't like feeling that. I don't like this. So I need to move forwards. Because if I don't, I will continuously be met with this uncomfortable situation, this discomfort. And that's what moves you into action. That's what makes you make the change. The pain of being stuck in the same situation, the same relationship, the same workplace every day, day in, day out. That's your discomfort. That's your propeller to move you forwards. Because the truth of the matter is, life begins outside of your comfort zones. And as long as you stay in your comfort zone, your place of complacency, you will continuously be met with an unfulfilled life, with a disappointing relationship, with a workplace that doesn't serve you. And so you have to make a choice. You have to make a choice, whether it's around your mindset, your body, your health, your relationships, your finances, your workplace, your business, your organization, whatever it is. Until you move out of your comfort zone, you will be met with the same situation, the same circumstance, and the same conclusion. The choice is yours. The choice is mine. But we all have to make a choice. And if we make the choice of staying the same, it is what it is. Now, I want you to understand this truth about confidence. Confidence isn't an assurance that it will work out. It's not that. People think, oh, you know, confidence. It's not that. It's not an assurance that things will work out, but it's the willingness to try. That's what it is. I'm going to give this a go. Let me see what happens. Let me see how well I do. Let me see how good I am at this. Let me see what I can learn from this experience. That's what confidence is. That's what it's about. It's where we break the T from the word can't and say, I can. I can give this a go. I can give it a try. I can see how good I am at this. I can work on this project. I can, develop this relationship, I can become more confident at addressing situations. That's where confidence is at. Remember, all behavior is belief driven. And when you're saying you can't, it's because you have no confidence. You have no willingness to try. That's what I'm saying here. You have no willingness to try where you say you can't. But when you say you can, it means you have a willingness to try. And that even if it doesn't work out completely as planned, you will learn from it, you will grow from it, and it would increase your confidence, because you'll recognize and realize, if I make this tweak here and that tweak there, it could be even better. And you have a willingness to try again. But the truth of the matter of this, if we address the elephant in the room, is, do you believe in you? That's the question. I believe in me. This is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm sharing this message with you. This is my passion. This is my dream. This is what I want to do. But do you believe in you? Do you believe in you? And if you say you do, how are your actions showing that? Because remember, all behaviors are belief driven. So if you believe in you, what behaviors are you doing to show that, to manifest that? The question you must ask yourself is, are you willing to bet on yourself? Are you? And if you're not willing to bet on yourself, why should anyone else? I know these are hard questions. I know this is challenging, but it's the truth that will set you free. Are you willing to bet on yourself? And if you are, and even if you're not at this time, there is things that you can do to help yourself. And it starts with what you are thinking, saying, and declaring about yourself. And it starts with affirmations. It starts with these simple words: I am, I will, and I can. And the more you speak these things to yourself, the more you think about these things, and the more you act in accordance to these things, is the more that your confidence will grow in yourself. What are you telling yourself today? What have you told yourself about what you are? I am what? What have you said? What have you declared? Not what you can't do, but what are you? What can you do? What will you do? What are you? What is the essence of who you are? You need to be telling yourself, I am strong, I am confident, I am powerful, I am resilient, I am creative, I am awesome, I am transformational, I'm a different person now. These are the things you need to tell yourself. I will do this, I will achieve, I will overcome, I will execute. I can be the best version of myself. I can overcome this. I can be responsible. I can be proactive. I can defeat this fear. What are the things that you are telling yourself that would encourage you to believe in you? It's so important. It's essential. It's fundamental. Start to give yourself affirmations. Start to declare these things over your life. And so I want to let you know that in order for you to do these things, in order for you to manifest this change, in order for you to overcome your fears, in order for you to begin to find your voice with you, you're going to need to fight for your freedom. It's not just going to come just like that. You need to be prepared. You need to fight for your freedom. And it's a cat fight. You see, like this picture that you can see, you're going to have to fight for your freedom. And I hope in your mind, when you look at this picture, you see yourself as the cat on the right, the one who is throwing those punches, the one who is taking action, the one who is going for it. And that you are not the cat on the left who is just staying there hoping things will just work out and that hopefully it won't get hit. Because that's what's been happening in your life, maybe. You've been hit left, right, and center by fear, worry, and anxiety. And you've hoped that it will just leave you alone for one day, because fear is a bully and it's never left you alone. It's kept you in that place. And today is the day to take the battle to the gates of your enemy. Today is the day where you begin to fight for your freedom, where you begin to say no more. And so let me just explain a bit more why I say it's a fight. Because firstly, our brains is designed to be customized in the early part of life. That's the first 7 years of our life, is where we're in a programming state, okay? Due to the brain is in theta mode, and in that mode is where we can be programmed. It's like being in hypnosis. And that's why in those first 7 years, we're picking up, we're learning so much different things from what's said, from what's happened, from the cues, from our family, from our friends, from people around us. So we're literally like a brand new iPhone or a brand new, Android phone that you've bought. And it has nothing in it. It has no phone numbers. It has no ringtones. It has no music. And you download everything onto it. Well, that's what's happening in the first 7 years of our life. And then it implements those algorithms throughout life. And this is why many of the things that people do in their adult life is the consequence or the repercussion or the evolution of what happened in those first 7 years. And quite often, where we have these limiting beliefs or these thoughts and feelings about what we can't do, it often stems from things that's happened in our childhood. Those life scripts, those things that were said to us, those things that happened to us, those things that we experienced. And we hold on to those subconsciously often. And those things determine how we will play out our adult life. And so it's really important to understand you're going to have to fight for this freedom. We're going to have to sometimes go back and update some of those outdated belief systems, some of those life scripts that were wrong, that we may have been told or shown or experienced from others. And we need to upgrade them so that the algorithms can be more effective. The second thing is that what's going on in your head can become more real than what's going on in your life. And this is because of how the brain works. You see, the interesting thing is that whatever you are thinking on, your brain records. It doesn't have a filter to say, oh, no, but you're being unreasonable here. Whatever you're thinking on, your brain's taking notice. Whatever you're paying attention to, your brain's taking notice. And again, remember, every thought is a rep. And whatever you are building up yourself, because the mind is a muscle, it's taking that on board. That's why if you continuously are listening to certain things or being around certain people or entertaining certain kind of music and stuff like that, information, news, you eventually become influenced by that. And so it's really important to be careful who you're around and what you're listening to, because it will pay dividends in the end, and it will have an impact on what you think, feel, and how you behave. This is why smart people stay away from negative people. This is why lots of people make a decision to not listen to the news or to not listen to it too often, because they understand the role that it plays. And what you start to think on and create in your mind becomes your reality. You see, your mind determines your world. When you're at peace within, the world is at peace. When you're at chaos within, the world is in chaos. When you've had a blessed day and everything's going well, you're fine, you're good, everything's going well. But once you have a bad day and things are not going according to plan, the whole world changes. Not that the whole world has changed, but your world changes. And everything is seen through the lens, the filter of your perspective. So it's important to understand that what's going on in your head, we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and 90% of those are rumination. If you are focusing on particular negative things, that's what your reality will be. And that's why sometimes when you're going through and you have a good friend that helps to bring perspective, because they start to say, what are you talking about? Look at all these things you have, that it helps to bring you back around. So what is going on in your head can become more real than what's going on in your life. And just ask yourself, where has your mind been recently? What have you been focusing on? Where has your attention gone? That's creating your world. The third and the final thing is that the information that you have, the things that you're thinking on, it comes through conditioning, imagination, suggestions, and consequences. This is why you're fighting for your freedom. What has been your conditioning? What has been your upbringing? What has been the things that you've experienced? What has been the things that people have told you that shaped you and molded you, that's made you see yourself from a limited perspective? Is it a teacher that said you'll never amount to anything? Was it a parent maybe that in their moment of anger said certain things to you that stuck with you? Is it your imagination? You see, one of the things about the human mind is that we have a superpower. It's called our imagination. And that imagination can work for our benefit or to our detriment. When it works to our benefit, it's when we're using things like visualization and having a vision, which is so powerful that it can actually reshape the brain through neuroplasticity. But when the imagination is not used in the correct way, it can be detrimental, because you can imagine worst case scenarios that ain't there. You can imagine situations and circumstances that ain't actually true. You can imagine yourself from a limited perspective, even though you have the skill and the potential to do that very thing. Then it's the suggestions, the ideas, the things you tell yourself. And I'll give you an example. Whenever you need to do something that's challenging, or something that's new, or something that you may find difficult, what happens? Do you not notice that all these thoughts come to you? These ideas, these things that you tell yourself, the things that the brains remind you of because of things that you've recently programmed into yourself, those are suggestions. And we listen to those subconsciously. And so we say, oh no, I'm not going to do it. It's going to be too hard. Who's told you it's going to be too hard? You've told yourself that. We are giving ourselves suggestions all the time. But imagine if we flip that and we start to fight for our freedom, and we start to tell ourselves through affirmations that I can do it, I will do it, I am good enough, I am capable. You need to fight for your freedom. And the final one is consequences. It's consequences. It's things that's happened previously. I failed last time, so why am I going to do it again? Because you know more now, because you're different, because you're stronger, because you have more understanding. And so these 4 areas of conditioning, imagination, suggestions, and consequences can work together against us, or can work together for our benefit. And as you are fighting for your freedom, if you start to work on these areas, if you start to take stock of your thoughts and become more mindful, so that what's going on in your head, believing that you can, declaring that you can, visualizing that you can become realer than your life, and you make the very things that you want to be become a reality. And those algorithms that you create by being consistent in thoughts, in words, in feelings, emotions, and behaviors, that's how you fight for your freedom. So there's 5 points that I want you to remember when dealing with fear, so that you do not stay stuck in that jar of fear, of worry, of anxiety, of intimidation, of complacency, of procrastination. 5 points that I want you to remember. Number one, you need to create mental pit stops throughout the day. What do I mean by this? I mean that just like when cars are racing, they do a certain laps and they stop for a pit stop check and they make sure everything's fine and fine tuned, and then they carry on going. You need to be conscious of doing that throughout your day. You need to stop and check in with yourself. Give yourself an affirmation. Pat yourself on the back. Acknowledge what you've done. Write down your accomplishments, your trophies, your wins, what you've done well. You need to do that. Because out of those 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, 90%, which is rumination, if you are not having intention with what thoughts you have, you will just do what you've always done. And only you know what that history is and where it's gotten you. Number two, accept fear as a fact and not a force. You will experience fear, but fear has no power over you unless you give it to it. It's something that you will experience, but it doesn't have to hold you back. Feel the fear and do it anyway. And it's important to understand that fear doesn't have any real power over you, any special power over you, other than that which you provide it with. I guarantee you, if you can think back, there has been things in your life that you have feared once that you no longer fear. What changed? What changed is you no longer gave it the power. And once you take back the power and authority, there's nothing it can do. And there is fears that still hold you back. And that's only because you're still giving it the power. You're telling it it's better than you, it's stronger than you, it's greater than you. And so that's where its power comes from. But I guarantee you, once you take back the authority, once you push through and do anyway, fear loses its grip hold. Its power lies in you remaining in action. Its power relies in you telling yourself you can't do it. You are the gatekeeper of your destiny. You are the master of your life. You are the CEO of your future. Remember that. Number three, perception is like a spotlight. What do I mean by that? Wherever you are focusing your attention, wherever you are choosing to look, wherever it is that you are gazing upon, whether it's fear, inadequacy, imposter syndrome, limiting beliefs, or whether it is boldness, confidence, your ability, and your skill set, that perception is your spotlight. And wherever you place that spotlight is where your energy will go. Because where the mind goes, the energy flows. The question is, where is your perception? Where is your spotlight? What are you focusing on? And in every given situation, remember this and ask yourself the question, where is my perception? Where is my spotlight right now? Is it on what I can or what I can't do? Is it on my confidence, my willingness to try, or my limiting beliefs, my lack of giving myself options or opportunities? Number four, your greatest fear carries your greatest growth. Your greatest fear carries your greatest growth. The bigger the fear that you overcome is the more ground you make. It's the greater mountain that you climb. It's the more that you start to realize your potential. It's the more that you are strengthening your resilience muscles. So you have an option. You can use fear. Remember what I said about it being, a propeller for uncomfortable situations? You can either use fear as your stepping stone, as your training ground, just like the gym. When people go to the gym, they know they're going to feel pain. They know it's going to be difficult. That's if they're choosing to work out, that is. Some of the people, when I go to the gym, they're just on their phones. But if you're going to the gym to really make progress, you know it's going to be difficult. Use fear as your gym, or it will use you. And all of us in our lives, whether presently or previously, have been used by fear, and it never feels good. It never feels good. The final point is that when you change your behavior, your thoughts, feelings, and perceptions change. So most people come from this end when they're doing it. Okay. So when you change your behavior, your thoughts, feelings, and perceptions will change. This is why inaction breeds doubt, fear, and complacency. You have to change your behavior first, because your mind is already focusing on what you can't do. You can't change that. It's very difficult in that moment because you're emotionally charged. So it's when you change your behavior that you are able then to have different thoughts, different feelings, and your perceptions change, because you have the evidence base to prove what you can do. And so this is what I want to stop from today. Where fear has kept you silent, it's kept you silent verbally, emotionally, and physically. And from today, I want this to stop. I want you to be free. I want you to grow. I want you to speak, because your words have great power. And so I'm encouraging you to take the battle to fear today. I'm encouraging you to begin to fight for your freedom. And I'm encouraging you to begin to operate out of your true potential, so that you can start to see you are much greater, much stronger, much wiser than you actually believe and give yourself credit for. And it's time that you start listening to your inner counselor, rather than your critic and your fears and your imposter syndrome and all these other things that want to take your time, take the space, your mental capacity. And the interesting thing about your inner counselor is that it never speaks by shouting. It always speaks with a still, small voice. And the only way that you will hear it is where you stop, is where you take a moment, is where you reflect, is where you tap into your higher consciousness. And so it's really important that you take time out, that you stop, that you meditate, that you reflect, because it's in those moments that you will hear the wise voice of your inner counselor that will tell you those things that you need to hear. It will tell you, you can do this. You are good enough. You're strong enough. I believe in you. This is your time. It's different now. You're stronger. Go for it. Those things that you need to hear your inner counselor will tell you, because your inner counselor is the lion warrior spirit within you that every single one of you listening to my voice today has, but you're not listening to it. I encourage you today, begin to listen to your inner counselor. And remember this, that your thoughts are like invisible waves that change the frequency of your life. And like a TV, you can choose what channel to be entertained by. And so whether that be a horror movie, comedy show, or the Discovery Channel, what will it be for you today? I hope you choose the Discovery Channel of recognizing and understanding and seeing the true potential of how great you are. So my final words to you today is be free where you are. Whatever your tightrope of a situation that you are facing today, be free where you are. Find your voice. Speak up for yourself. Declare your truth. Be authentic. Live your best life. Stand on the greatness of your character. Live by your values and execute. This is your time. This is your moment. Find your voice today. And so, if you found this useful, I encourage you to look on my YouTube channel. There's more videos dedicated to you to give you the support that you need. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video, and keep on your grind. You can do this. I believe in you. And that's why I've made this message for you today. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it ignited something inside of you. So leave a comment and let me know just one nugget that you will take away from this message. And share this video with your friends and your loved ones who you know will benefit from this information. And check out my YouTube channel for many other videos dedicated to supporting and empowering you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell, because that's me calling you for our next one-to-one. So stay blessed, remain grateful, and as always, manifest your greatness.